Welcome back. As I mentioned, we have Dr. Ivan Ho here, who is here on behalf of Pro Smiles OC. Well, welcome to the show again. How are you?
I'm doing great, Lisa. Thank you, and thanks for having me here again.
You're welcome. The last time we had you in, you scanned my mouth with that intraoral scanner, and I think that was really a cool thing. And you know, there's a lot of things that we can do to make our teeth better, either brushing, caring for them, but also food is really important. So you're here today to talk about what are some of the good foods and some of the bad foods that can really harm our teeth.
Yes, absolutely, Lisa. Thank you.
So when it comes to bad food, I mean, I think everybody knows that sugar is horrible, right? So what are some of the other bad items?
Yes, sugar is a guilty culprit. Mainly, it lowers our pH in the saliva, which causes acidity, and the acid in the saliva is what causes the cavities.
Okay. So that's primarily sugar. But
Correct.
What are some other things that maybe we're unaware of that are bad things?
Good. A lot of starchy foods, because starch stays in your saliva, stays in your mouth, and over time it accumulates.
Okay.
And bacteria forms in those plaques and causes cavities.
You know, that's interesting. So now, starchy things like what, like chips? Is that considered starch?
Yes, chips, a lot of pasta, rice, although they're good food, but if they're left on a tooth for more than 24 hours, it becomes plaque and then tartar.
Oh, no
And
kidding.
that's a safe haven harbor for a lot of bacteria to grow.
So brushing our teeth has been around for a long time. So did it come to a point where people were eating a lot of food and then they weren't removing these items from their teeth on a daily basis?
Our diet has actually changed over the generations.
Okay.
We used to eat more raw, crunchy food, which mechanically can remove that plaque. But our diet has become more and more soft to make it easier to ingest, and therefore stays on the teeth longer and causes cavities.
Really?
Yes.
So what were we eating that was more crunchy?
More raw vegetables. Carrots are really good, apples are good, but now everything seems to be more pureed or softened for easier digestion, which is not good for anything, including our bone health and osteoporosis.
Right.
It can cause all that stuff.
Right. Wow. Well,
Yeah.
let's take a look. There's a photo that we have that shows some decay, and so if you have a weak stomach, I wouldn't look at it. So take a look. So here we have like decay in the back, and that's the little circle that was in the back.
Yes, correct.
Okay. So how long did something like that take?
As little as a few months.
Really?
Yes. Now, as a child, most of our cavities, probably 90% of them occurs on occlusal surface, or the chewing areas.
Yes.
As we age, our diets change. The decay location migrates to more the gum area, because that's where all the plaque accumulates.
Okay. All right. Well, good thing that we brush our teeth on a regular basis, because otherwise, Well, let's talk a little bit about, flossing. There's a lot of flossing type utensils out, and I didn't have a picture of it, but what are some of the good ones to use to really get in there? Because brushing alone just isn't enough.
That's correct. That's a good point, Lisa. Flossing, you're not so much more removing the physical food that's between the teeth, pardon me, but more disrupting the bacterial matrix, the colony from forming.
Oh.
So it's the mechanical movement of the floss that's where most of the benefit comes from.
I see. So now what if you use floss? I mean, I think we're most familiar with floss. There's also those little kind of a toothpick style where it has a little bristle on the end. Is that good too?
Yes, if you have a lot of spaces and you can't get to those areas, then those little things do help. The little bristles
but only
do
if you
help.
have a lot of spaces, because otherwise I don't think you could fit that in there, right?
Correct, and if you're forced and try to jam it in there, you can actually cause the gum to recede.
Oh, yeah.
So you can do some harm with that too.
There's just so much going on in our mouths.
Yes.
All right, let's talk about some of the good food that we can eat. Now, you mentioned some crunchy things like, vegetables.
Yes. Can I backtrack a little bit?
Of course.
They say you've heard the eyes are the windows to your soul.
Yes.
Where the mouth is a window to your overall health. And why is that? Because our mouth is so highly vascularized. I mean, there's a lot of blood vessels and capillaries in there. So any systemic disease that's in your blood initially shows up in your mouth, or your dentist can see a lot of your overall health in your mouth because systemic disease are in the blood and the mouth is so highly vascularized.
Okay, so when we go in and we obviously have our cleaning done, which is the majority of the things that we do when we go see the dentist, then you come in and then you will evaluate what's going on in the mouth. So what are some things that you're actually looking for?
Great. So not only do dentists look at the teeth or the hygienist, but the overall gums, the health, the soft tissue, the cheeks, the tongues, that all plays a role in your overall health.
Okay, all right, great. So getting back to the food, so we do crunchy vegetables, and what else?
Yes, there are actually five. I've tried to simplify it by 5 things.
Okay.
One is the crunchy vegetables, such as carrots. Why are carrots good? One, the mechanical cleansing of the tooth is very important when you have hard food. Number 2, when you're chewing on there, it causes stress on the tooth, which transfers to the root, which transfers in the bone. And stress is good for bone maintenance.
Okay.
So that maintains your jawbone, prevents the osteoporosis or from resorbing.
Okay, all right.
Another good food is our leafy greens, leafy vegetables. Why? Because foods such as spinach or Brussels sprouts, all the yummy stuff, right?
I like Brussels sprouts. If you cook them just right, then they're good.
And why is that good? Because it has a lot of fiber, and fiber causes you to chew, and chewing stimulates saliva.
Okay.
And saliva can balance the pH on your mouth. Because normal pH is right about 7.2. Anything below that is more acidic, which causes decay.
Okay.
And saliva will bring that pH up.
Okay, and what about fruit?
Fruit. Fruit is good in moderation. Fruit is sweet because it has a lot of sugar.
Okay.
Yes.
You got to be careful with the fruits.
Yes.
All right, excellent. And what else? You have 2 other items, I think.
Yes, I have cheese. Cheese is very good. Why? Because cheese has a lot of calcium and protein, which is good for the bones and teeth.
Right.
And also raises your pH of the saliva content.
Okay.
Yes. Another one I have are green tea, actually. Why is green tea? Green tea has a lot of antibacterial, antioxidants, antibacterial in your mouth. Now, a lot of bacteria are good in your mouth, so you want to find that balance in there.
Okay. You know, and a lot of the things that you mentioned are things that we should be eating anyway, not just for teeth health, but for, like you said, bone health, for osteoporosis, as well as just overall health. You know, I mean, we always have been told to stay away from candy and things like that, but that's just too darn tempting, isn't it?
Yeah. Let me add another point to candy. Who doesn't love sweets? I don't recommend this, but I love Snicker bars. If I'm going to eat 10 Snicker bars a day, which I don't recommend, it's better to eat them all 10 at one sitting versus spread them out in 10 hours.
Okay.
Why? Because after you eat, the sugar and the acid lingers in your saliva for hours. So you don't want that constantly sitting in your mouth.
Oh, that's a great point.
Yes.
Well, good. I love that idea. So I can have all the candy in one day.
That's right. That's right, Lisa.
Perfect, perfect. Well, thank you so much for the information. I really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
All right. And don't forget that you should make sure that you eat your crunchy vegetables and your spinach, as well as those Brussels sprouts. We'll be right back.